Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Middletown School Committee meeting to order on Thursday, August 10th, 2023. All members are present except for Wendy, Mrs. Heaney. We're going to go into executive session. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
You have to read the whole thing.
Do you want to just say all the, yes,
Yeah, where am I going here? I make a motion that we consider and vote on the motion to convene to executive session. Status on Council 94 contract negotiation 42-46-5A2. Receive legal advice on potential settlement of special education matter 42-46-5A2. Update teacher negotiations 42-46-5A2. Receive legal advice regarding potential litigation around budget and appropriation 42-46-5A2.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Call vote.
has to be.
I'm sorry, need a roll call vote. Mr. O'Connell?
Present.
No, I mean,
Aye.
say
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Greg? Tammy? Aye. Aye. Okay, we have a majority, we have a majority vote.
Okay, so I'll text you when we're finished.
Yeah, not on, are we, Dave? No.
You
Off.
say we're on, but we're not on.
The microphones in the room are on, but it's
Hey,
not.
Georgia, you
connected to
wanna
the
come up
outside
here?
world. It's not recording.
We still have to say the pledge.
Your agenda after I want to table some.
Okay. Okay, we're back from executive session. Can I have a motion to close executive session?
Make a motion to close executive session.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to reopen a regular meeting.
Second. Or what?
All in
So
favor?
moved. Oh.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I need a no vote was taken in executive session and I need a motion to seal the minutes.
Motion to seal the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Next. I'd like to take a moment to have a moment of silence for Mike Yates, who was a Middletown High School coach, Mary Belagama, who was our school librarian for many years. And they were both also parents of students in our school district. So a moment of silence for them. We send our condolences and our thoughts and prayers to their families. Thank you. Next on the agenda is a public forum. Individuals may address the school committee on only one relevant education-related topic not included on the agenda, nor related to personnel or job performance, nor revealing personally identifiable information regarding students. Individuals may speak for no longer than 5 minutes and must submit a public participation form to the superintendent prior to the start of the meeting. Non-agenda items discussed under public forum will not be voted upon at this meeting. Do we have any forms? Okay. Next, we move on to special education spotlight on teaching and learning.
Okay, our spotlight tonight is on our new student service department. We're very excited about this. As you know, the region, Newport County Special Education Region dissolved as of the last day of June. And we are putting together our Department of Student Services, which includes special ed. While we were doing this, I had asked for a transition team to take a look at things we need to do to build our own department from scratch. The region has been around, I think, for 30-something years, so I don't remember a special ed department, a district not having its own special ed department. We were always part of a region. So I'm happy to introduce tonight our new Director of Student Services, Lisa Burkett. Many of you know Lisa from being our principal at Forest Avenue. She has a very strong background in special ed. And we went out and we searched, we did interview other people. But I have to say, we came home because we had the right person at home to lead us in this new adventure. To help us with that, I have engaged an expert in special education, Georgia Fortunato, and Georgia's in the audience tonight. Georgia was a special education teacher. She was a department head, special education department head, and then became director of special education in Lincoln Public Schools. And then later on became superintendent of schools. So between Lisa and Georgia and part of the transition team, David Anisi, our data guru, Kim Colucci, and the admin assistant, Heather Richardson. They have worked diligently since July 1, basically a little after July 1, really digging into what needs to be done to make Middletown's special education department a strong one and one that people will look at in the state. So I'm going to introduce the transition team, and I will try to do these slides.
I can do it.
Okay, you're going to do them? He's going to do the slides, right?
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. My name is David Anisi. I'm the Director of IT. I'm joined by our interim consultant, Georgia Fortunato, as well as our Director of Student Services, Lisa Perget. We are three members that make up the special education student services transition team. So today's presentation overview is going to highlight a few things. It's going to introduce who we are as a team and why is there a team in the first place, what our goals are as a transition team, some preliminary recommendations that the transition team has already worked on and developed, an overview of our brand new student services department, review the department's goals, as well as where we want to be both in a long-term sense and a short-term sense. So let's start off with the Middletown Public Schools Student Services Transition Team. I was sitting in a conference room with our superintendent, Mrs. Krager, and we had one day a discussion of the future of Middletown Public Schools as it relates to our special education department. And we knew that after 30 years of being in a region, it was time for a change, but a meaningful change. And so we reassessed all of our priorities and our goals of where we would want to be and developed through our central office meetings, our admin meetings, and meetings one-on-one, that it is about to become a student services team. And we knew that this challenge to create a brand new department after years of being within a region is no easy task. And we wanted to do right by our students, do right by our educators, and do right by the Middletown community by taking a very methodical, thoughtful approach to how we will ease the district into this major transition. It's a very complicated project, but it was something that really excited both the superintendent and myself. And so Mrs. Krager appointed me as the team chair to oversee this transition process during this time. So the people that make up our transition team is myself, also our coordinator of student information systems, Kim Colucci, our administrative assistant to the director of student services, Heather Richardson, as well as Lisa Perget, director of student services, and Georgia Fortunato, our student services consultant. I'm going to allow some time for them to introduce themselves to the community.
Okay, so most of you know me already as the principal of Forest Avenue. Before I came to Middletown, just for my background, I was a special education teacher for over 20 years in North Providence. And that's really where my passion lies. Even as a principal of Forest Avenue, that is always where I found myself kind of gravitating towards with the special education team. And it really encompasses all students, making sure that every student gets what they need. But that's kind of always been my passion. So when this position became available and came up and we were talking about, in our admin meetings, how it was going to move forward, I thought about it. I thought about it again and kind of went back and forth and then decided that this really was where I wanted to land. So I put my application in and the rest is history. And I really would like to thank Mrs. Krager for having the faith in me to do this position. This is a big undertaking, but it's also what really excited me about this versus being a special ed director or director of student services in another community is that ours is going to be, it's brand new. We really don't have an existing program at all. So building something from the ground up is what is so exciting about this. We're going to build it the way we want it, and we're going to build it so it's one of the best student services departments in the state. That's our goal.
Good evening. And as Superintendent Krager indicated, my name is Georgia Fortunato. I've been in education for 40 years. I started when I was 10, so you can do the math. I did, and it's interesting, my entire career as an educator was in Lincoln. I started teaching in Lincoln in 1981, and I retired in 2018, so you can do the math. However, I was a special ed teacher, elementary, high school. I was a diagnostic prescriptive teacher. I was a transition coordinator. I was department head. Then I became special ed director, and subsequently for 12 years, I served as a superintendent of schools. I retired in 2018. 2 months later, I was asked to be the executive director of the Northern Rhode Island Collaborative. That was a part-time position. It's a school that oversees, and we deal with special ed students. Districts pay us tuition. And for 5 years, I was the executive director. Unfortunately, that school, the collaborative, closed. You probably heard a lot about it over the last several months in the news. It closed. And I know I definitely made a difference. And I really commend the teachers and the families and students because it was a great opportunity. So now I'm really looking forward to yet another opportunity because I always feel like I want to evolve. And this is really something that has really piqued my attention, my energy, because we're literally building a special ed department, and I'm really delighted to be part of it. She couldn't have asked for a better leader in Lisa Burkett. Her enthusiasm, her intellectual ability, her compassion, and her understanding that we must give children what they need. And as I indicated earlier, it's something that we want to educate the public about. We educate from 3 to 22. So at the end of this, it's our goal that we're going to have the best student services department in the state. But it's all about procedures, policies, and getting everyone on the same page, going in the right direction. But it's always going to be about children. And I hope that, we'll have many opportunities to meet with you folks and meet with other members of the Middletown community, because I think communication is critical. We have a lofty job ahead. But with all the players, and I commend David Anisi as the chair of this transition team, he's put lots of time and energy in ensuring that we're on the right track. But believe me, you're going to be very proud of the outcome. So thanks for allowing me to join the Middletown Public Schools. I'm really delighted. I think you have an amazing community. Thank you.
Thank you, Georgia.
Thanks, George.
So I will say that our transition team has been meeting for the past several weeks. Sometimes 3 times a week, twice a week, but at least once a week. So we meet very, very often because there is a lot of work that we have accomplished, but there's also a lot of work that lies ahead of us. It's very much a very exciting work in progress for us, and we have a very strong team behind us to do so and complete that work. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what the goals are of our student services transition team. So we have 3 main goals of our team. And the first goal is to discuss the immediate needs of the department. When one department exits and another one is built from the ground up, there are very, very much short-term fires that need to be put out, things that need to be addressed in a very quick and efficient manner. And we need to address those on an ongoing basis. Second goal for the transition team is to develop a plan of how we're going to appropriately and responsibly plan for staffing and support of this department and all the people that rely on it. And our third and final goal is, again, to develop official processes and procedures for our student services team and our district to follow so that everybody is on the same page and expectations are fair and communicated. Now, we're already hard at work and we're already ready to use some recommendations of how we think we need to move forward. And to discuss that, I'm going to invite up our Director of Student Services, Lisa Burkett.
Okay, so here is our chart of people that we feel are necessary to get started to have this department up and running. You've already heard from Georgia, who is the consultant, with myself as the director. Now, we have about over 400 students that are under the special education umbrella. So in order to be able to track all of the students, we have multiple areas which you see underneath. So like David said, we start at age 3. That's where our early childhood coordinator position comes in. You need someone, so when we have students who, or I should say children who are receiving services through early intervention, some don't always start with early intervention, but we have students who do from birth to age 3, they then transition to the school department. And we are responsible for them from 3, 4, 5 before they come into kindergarten. So having someone to coordinate that, going out to different community agencies in the childhood centers, students receive services outside. And we also sometimes have students who come in and do walk-in services such as speech in the buildings. We have a preschool program at Aquidneck. We also have an intensive classroom that will be going there as well. That is going to have students that are younger than the kindergarten age. And I think it's really important. I think when people think about special education, you think of K to 12, but there's a bookend on either side and we're responsible for that. But it takes a lot of tracking in order to make sure that we are picking up all of these kids and servicing them the way that we need. So that's why we have an early childhood coordinator, which leads into the census clerk. The census clerk is really essential to make sure that, as some things we were talking about earlier in terms of reimbursements, out of district placements, being able to keep track of where students are, where they're going. We have to track their attendance, Medicaid reimbursement. That is a job in and of itself. So that would be our need for the census clerk. And then the administrative assistant is this essentially, the secretary to me is the director to kind of do our day-to-day operations. But that person also works a little bit on census in terms of keeping track of student data as well. That is a key piece to all of this, which is what Georgia and I have been kind of uncovering as we're going through and finding out where students are, and students have left and come. And, we want to make sure that we're accurate, because those end up being dollars that are spent, especially with out of district placements. And we need to make sure that we are doing our due diligence to make sure that kids are where they're supposed to be and being serviced the way they are supposed to be serviced.
Yes, so really, when you look at the organizational chart, you already have the special ed director, you already have the special ed director, you already have the administrative assistant. So the 2 positions that we're looking for is a 1.0 census clerk and a 0.5 early childhood coordinator. So just as you look
So
at
the
that.
region did have a full-time early childhood coordinator to cover the 3 districts. With our community, we only need a 0.5.
Right.
And I have to vouch of how important that position is
Critical.
with me, with an early childhood group of children that need services. And there's a lot of programs out there in the community that are private preschools and daycare centers where our Middletown students are there at ages 3. And early intervention is already involved with some of those students, as you said. And some of them do not have early intervention.
No,
So
they
they're
don't.
starting from scratch now, needing screenings and then, potential evaluations and things of that nature in order to develop an IEP. Or I should say, in order to see if they meet the criteria for eligibility.
Exactly.
Then if they do, then all of these services have to kick in and the services need to be provided once.
That is why
happens.
you're right.
So it's critical. I can't believe we're going to be able to pull it off of the 0.5 position, but I'm glad to hear that.
Lots of support, lots of support will be
Yes.
given to that individual, but it is critical.
Critical.
It's a very important position. And again, that's when they're entering. And as everyone knows, the supports you give to children early on make a big difference in what you do as they get older. You have a period of time when you can make a significant difference, and it really has to be early on in a student's education. So that's our organizational chart. So.
Okay. So previously it was the special education department, or region. We're now moving to student services. Within that, so a student-centered department for students ages 3 to 22 focuses on the educational and social emotional needs of every student. So yes, special education is a piece of that, but this department will also encompass, sorry, I got my head of myself, health services. So the nurses will be housed under this department, as well as 504 services. So 504 services are for students who have a medical diagnosis. They don't require specialized instruction from an educator, but they do require accommodations to be made. It could be to the building, it could be in the classroom. Those can be done by a general educator. But a 504 is equally as binding document as an IEP. And they have to be followed. They have to be reviewed every year. You need documentation. So that also, it's not special education because we're not instructing specialized instruction, but it does fall under this department's umbrella.
I think if you don't mind me saying, I don't mean to
Sure.
interrupt you,
No.
Lisa, but just a good example for
Okay.
the general public to understand what an example of a 504 student might be is if a student needs extra time to take an exam,
Mhm.
they have based on these services that are required, the district is required by law to provide that time based on,
Mhm.
as you said, a medical need or whatever the case may be, but the student's required to comply with that 504 service. But there's an example, just so people
Mhm.
might not understand what a 504.
Right.
But it could just be a student needs an extra 30 minutes to take an exam versus having to take it in 45 minutes.
Right. It could also be something, I'm trying to think of examples too.
You can
right.
remove an architectural barrier, like say you had classes up on the second floor and the student has mobility issues, is in a wheelchair, and you don't have an elevator, then you need to move the classes downstairs.
Right.
So,
Right. Which doesn't require a teacher,
Right,
but it can require a document.
exactly.
And to have a document that follows, a student through the years, something like that. A lot of parents having it down on paper, we do these things anyway. I mean, I've been at Forest Avenue for 2 years, and just because something is not written on a piece of paper doesn't mean that we don't do it. But having the documents ensures that it must be done. And it's important, I think, that parents feel supported by our district, even in that. I don't want to just say to some, well, we're going to do that. It kind of gives them a little bit of, I think, some comfort in knowing that it's on paper when students qualify. So. So this is our mantra, our motto, where every student gets what they need. So that is our goal. Every student is going to get what they need to be successful. That is what we are working towards. That is what I did as a teacher. That is what I did as a principal. And it really takes a village, and it's multiple people. This process and this department revolves around collaboration. It isn't one single person that makes any of these decisions. IEP team meetings, it's a group of people. I can't come in and say something as the director and override everyone. It's not how it works. We come together Parents are included, teachers are included. It's important that everyone get what they need. You will hear this from us over and over again. This is our new motto. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. Okay. So as you see our little words popping up, these are the pieces that we feel are necessary to make us successful. You know, in terms of being flexible and, you know, having a lot of educator input. The biggest piece to me is the communication. I want to be able to be, I communicate with parents and also communicating with the staff. So one thing that I plan to be doing is being out in the district and being in the buildings, meeting the teachers, meeting the students, talking with the teachers. What do you need? How is it going? How can I help you? Show me your celebrations. I like to know. That is the communication piece is key. And it's also really important for me. You know, I guess I should have said this before when I did my introduction, but I'm a parent. I have 4 kids and I've sat on both sides of the table. I've been the teacher, I've been the LEA of meetings, and I've sat on the other side and been the parent. So my perspective, I always put myself in the shoes of the parent. Would say, if this were my child, how would I feel? What would I want done? And it doesn't mean that parents always get what they want, because that's not how it works. It's more, how do you feel? What do you feel your child needs? They are a very important piece to this puzzle. And I need parents to, I know when I was at Forest Avenue that they felt that way, but now I want, as a district, for parents to really feel like they're being heard and that we're coming together for the best interest of their child. You know, who knows them better than them, parents. No one does. But we do see them in a different light. So it's important that we're all there together to make this work. Okay, so this is just reiterating what we had said, where every student gets what they need. Oh, I jumped ahead.
That's okay.
So monthly meetings with principals, teachers. So part of my goal is that I will meet with the principals monthly, teachers monthly. These are all people that work in this department: social workers, psychologists, speech and language therapists. Teachers, they need to be heard. They have, you know, their feet are on the ground. They're the ones in it. I need to hear what they have to say. That's important. No one knows better than they do. Especially, you know, case managers. So a case manager is someone who has a certain number of kids in their caseload, and they are in charge of making sure that all their services are delivered. Get direct feedback from the boots on the ground, and a careful, methodical, and responsible approach for programming and spending. You know, sometimes you have to think out of the box. Every student will get what they need while we're also being fiscally responsible. So, you know, just sometimes throwing people at problems doesn't always solve the problem. So it's important that I think we start to come up with a lot of ideas on how we can best serve students, and by utilizing the people that we already have. And then we also have, so because it was a region, we need to come up with our own procedures now and processes just to make everything efficient, with everyone doing the same thing, whether at Middletown High School, Aquidneck, GLA, it doesn't matter. These are the processes. These are how we're going to move forward. I think that by doing that, that will really, it'll help me as the director, but I think it will give a lot of guidance and a framework for the departments and, you know, the case managers and the people working with the kids. And lastly, so the local special education advisory committee, we will be getting this up and running. We meet 4 times a year. And this is somewhere where we get to really hear from the parents in the community and we will be educating, we will be giving resources to parents on how we can best serve the children of Middletown. And now we're at the Q&A. Any questions?
Very good presentation.
Exciting.
Thank you. It's super exciting. It's going to be great. You know,
Where will you have your office? Will it be in this building?
you have to come and see it.
Okay, it's in this building?
Upstairs. Come
Yeah.
upstairs.
We call it the penthouse now. Lieutenant Gregor knows that when I came July 5th and when Lisa came July 24th, David, Lisa and I with the crew.
With
your crew,
Pose, yes.
Poe and his crew, kudos to you. You should see the transformation. You'll be very, very, very impressed what paint does. Not a
Mhm.
lot of expense, but just
No,
paint.
not a lot of expense. No, we turned it right around
Yes,
out there.
We did.
We didn't do the before pictures. We wish we
should
did.
have. We should have, but
but
please,
it's
you're
great.
welcome to come up
Yes.
there.
Come up and visit.
Yes, yes.
Come
So
up and
great things
visit.
are going to be happening in Middletown, believe me.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just before we close, I would like to just take a moment to thank all of the members of our transition team. Again, they are our coordinator of student informations, Kim Kalichi, administrative assistant, Heather Richardson, of course, Georgia Fortunato, who has provided invaluable experience. And we are so excited for our new director of student services, Lisa Burkett. I'd also would be remiss if I didn't thank our amazing superintendent, Rosemary Krager, for all of her unwavering help and support that she has provided to us throughout this process. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, David.
One quick,
it might be-
are the two positions, posted and that, has that gone out yet for those two positions? That you're
The early
recommending?
childhood coordinator has been posted because we knew we needed to
Yep.
do that. There were interviews today, so we're getting very close to that. And the census, we wanted to wait for the recommendation and that will be posted as well.
Great.
Mhm. So it might be a good idea to put this either on our website or send it out to all of our staff so they see the transition plan. Okay. Georgia?
With your staff. Oh, instead, okay. You won't be meeting.
So again, I want to thank you. It is very exciting and you know, this transition team is really has been just fabulous putting the pieces together. You think of things like, you know, we've been in the region for 30 plus years, station, your letterhead, your stationery, who signs the contracts. You know, there was so much to look at and process.
We're finding.
Yeah, and
every-
things were fun.
every day.
Right, right. So
And
thank you again,
How long will Georgia be around helping us out?
as long as we need Georgia.
Believe me, I'm
Excellent.
Committed to help you folks.
Great.
It'd be really a wonderful department when we're done.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, next we move on to information.
So in your packet, I want to just draw attention to the Learn 365 compact that our town president signed with Governor McKee. The town did receive about 200,000, little short of $200,000 in grant from this, and working or texting our town administrator, it's going to enable us to have Beyond the Bell for the following summer, and also to explore hiring a student success non-certified position to do truancy, chronic absenteeism. So will be next on our agenda. The other piece in your information packet is email one response. The town council asked about 10 questions. We did half of them. It's going to be in 2 waves. So we answered questions about the curriculum. And this is on web-based too. So if anyone wants to see those answers to be transparent.
Is the special, is the presentation going to be attached as well? The special ed transition presentation would be
We
great
actually could do that,
To to send that along.
to
as
send
well,
that
since
along
that's
with email too. That's a great idea.
one of the categories, right?
Great idea. In one of your slides, I just meant to say this about the special ed. In the last slide, you didn't have, at least on this, didn't say what you had up there, the development of, it was the very last line. on the last slide. So
Yeah,
just
so
so you know
we'll,
that,
we'll update that for your packet.
I'm not worried about that. I just, when you post it, that's
make sure
on
it's-
there correctly, because that is a good, it was important information.
Sure, of course.
I'm not worried about that,
Oh, okay.
but I wouldn't, All right, thank you. All right, sorry, Mrs. President. Go ahead.
No, that's all in your information packet.
Okay, next is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion that the school committee approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion to table the old business, the out of district enrollment?
I make a motion that we table old business out of district enrollment.
Second.
Do we have to vote on that?
Vote on it and,
Well,
discussion. I
Yeah,
just,
discussion.
I'd like to provide you more information. I put this on kind of as a placeholder, but I'd like to provide more information. We do have members not in our community asking to enroll in our schools, which certainly is a nice thing, other than pathways. Pathways, that's an automatic. But I really like to talk to our school attorney about this and what are the unintended consequences of something like this. And then you would have to set a tuition plan,
Has that happened
tuition
before?
rate. Years ago, that has happened.
Mhm.
We had, it's easy when it's in high school because most of the students are going into a career pathway, but we've had a number of inquiries about students coming to our middle school, Gaudet Learning, and our elementary. So I'd rather table this and give you all the pros and cons.
Actually, we don't have to even vote on that because
No,
it's not an action item. So is that correct?
Correct.
So I'm sorry, there is no motion on that one. We're just going to table old business and
Okay.
thank you. Just, excited to vote on things tonight. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, next is new business.
So under new business, school committee member, you had asked for what are our policies around cell phones? The elementary schools really don't have cell phone policies. Our Gaudet Learning Academy and our high school have cell phone policies. So I included those in. These are in your packet. These are reviewed yearly by our principals and staff. I think the issue might be not so much the policies, but the consistency of implementation of the policies. So I would like to talk to our Gaudet Learning Academy and 6 through 8, our middle school and the high school, about how do these policies line up to make sure there is consistency between and among schools, and how are we being consistent? But I wanted to share the policies that are out there. I really don't feel that the district needs to have a policy. It should be a school-based policy. So we'll bring this up as old business next time. Mr. You had also asked for a transportation plan, and we've included that in your packet. Poe, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yes.
Do you need this?
I want to bring it, put it on the screen.
You wanna share it on the screen? Want me to?
If you can get to it quicker.
I don't know if I can get to it quicker, but I will try.
So while she's bringing that up, so we basically, transportation plan is the same as last year in terms of the amount of buses. We also have the same amount of vans that we'll be using this year. However, van number 6 will not be going to Tiverton to transport the special education students, but it will be used locally because we now are bringing 16 kids back from Tiverton to be into the Middletown schools, so we need some transportation for those. We have, right now, I'm working with student services and the transportation company to work out the routes for those 6 vans. Because we need to have, those 16 students aren't going to the same school. So they're gonna be working at different schools, so we have to transport them And we got to get a list together and work with the bus company to get those routes worked out. There's a very small chance that we might not need the sixth bus, depending on where those students go. But it's not looking like that's gonna happen. We're probably gonna need all six. The savings that we thought we'd realize on having to not transport the kids to Tiverton anymore is not gonna happen because of basically the bus company charges by hours and not mileage. So we're gonna have the same amount of transportation hours within Middletown as we would to Tiverton. So we're not gonna see a realization of any savings on that this year.
So we're about 2 weeks early with a full transportation plan because our bus runs need to be done. Ocean State is collecting the data.
The IT department is loading the student lists this Saturday. So that'll give the bus company a big jump on getting the routes all finalized. And as soon as I work with student services to get the special ed part of it, should have been.
And in
Right.
our budget, there is a 4% increase. That was our contract with Ocean State. Our runs, when you compare and the charge compared to other communities who might use Ocean State or even statewide, are very good rates. Ocean State is housed here in Middletown, the buses, and we have a strong relationship with the manager, the regional manager, and he lives in Middletown, and they do give us really the best rates. And also many buses that are free, like for our student athletes, when we make state finals or whatever, we had buses going up for lacrosse. Yes, lacrosse, and we had for football as well, and we're not charged for those.
Okay.
So,
I guess the reason I wanted to look at the transportation was because of the cost. That was identified as one of the highest cost areas. And a couple of things have happened that personally that I've noted. And I talked to the superintendent about one of them, and I'll share it with you. There was a bus that was stopped in an area that was not a bus stop, and it was private property. And I talked to the bus driver and asked them why they were stopping there. And they said because the parent had asked that the bus stop there because it was convenient for the parent to pick her child up at that particular spot. And so the superintendent addressed that, was taken care of. So one, how easy is it for a parent to change a bus stop? And then secondly, I got behind a bus stop, and it was Portsmouth, it was Union, and the bus stop, it had to be every 250 yards. And our kids probably need the exercise. We need to look at that. Is there some state mandate that says they have to stop at so many certain stops?
Depends on their age. And if there's sidewalks or not.
Well, we need to take a hard look at that. I think we can do better, and we can bring this cost down by looking at some of that. So that's why I brought it up.
so we will take a look at that. We will, the parent request really should, if a parent requests, they do call the bus company, but the bus company should be calling us to see if we approve something like that. Adding bus stops is not typical because bus stops do need to be approved by our police department for safety. So we'll follow up on that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it was something normal.
This wasn't part of it, but can you just talk a little bit about where the buses are housed?
Yes, the buses are housed. Last year, we housed the buses at Gaudet School. We saved about $86,000 by housing them on our property. There were complaints because the buses fire up, probably 5:30 on cold mornings, and to make sure all the engines are running. And there were residents living close to Gaudet. So we did move the bus. We are paying extra money for where they are large, and they are large, stayed down here on Elephant Lane, and there's a cost. for that, probably $86,000 plus some now because it's a year later. So we really would love to find a place for our buses. And do you want to, you?
No,
brought
I
it-
just was curious when we were looking at our building committee, the school building committee, when they were showing some of the drawings of possibilities for the middle school, high school, and they had more parking spaces, or when when the high school was vacated. Was just curious if that was ever discussed about maybe being able to house the buses somewhere on our property
Mhm.
and to put that in the mix a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's really a great idea and we should pursue that with the building committee.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
brought up and I think we're
Yeah,
trying to find a way to do that.
Because
to
it
save the
would
buses.
save, 86,000 plus is 86,000. That's
Sure.
almost a teacher.
How many parents complained
Oh,
when they were at Good Day?
they went to town council and
Yeah.
it was a big issue and the town council said, oh my gosh, move the buses. And so we moved the buses and but we had them at Gaudet for a couple of years. We were paying rent before, then we had them at Gaudet with no cost. And we had to go back to paying rent again. So we were quite content having them at Gaudet. But it was people went to the town council meetings and were complaining about the noise of the buses starting up.
Did the town council provide the $86,000?
No,
I'd keep harping on it a day.
Mhm.
And
these are the kinds of things that happen, that are now cost factors that we could potentially be avoiding spending that additional amount of money. At some point, it's gonna hit the $100,000 mark, and you're right, it's a
Move them
teacher.
back to God Day and fund another teacher position.
well, and the problem was the buses were coming in on Quinnick Avenue. I'm not even sure Quinnick Avenue is there anymore, or if you've gone
Well,
No,
down.
they were
That
coming
was the-
actually on Turner,
Turner.
They were coming
on
up to
Turner.
Oh,
When we
that's-
kept our buses there, they were pulling out of Turner,
didn't
and the
At
buses,
one point, they were on the Quinnick Avenue
Quinnick
side.
Avenue.
They were.
that's where I
You're
remember.
right.
And we moved them to,
So was the people on Turner that were,
the neighborhood
Yes,
that
yes.
abuts.
correct.
But you're right.
parking
I
lots.
forgot about
Look,
that.
we
did-
had them on a Quinnick Avenue, and what happened was when we changed the parking situation, and we did the back of the building as the parent drop, the front of the building on a Quinnick Avenue as the parent drop off, and Turner Road became the bus path. We kept the buses on that side. That's why they were parked there. So we did have it the opposite way. And we changed that based on the need to change for safety reasons when we redid the
Parking.
Turner Road parking area and the loop. So we used to have Turner Road was parent drop off and buses. Then we switched it and then we had to do it again. So that now it's buses are on Turner Road. No, buses are
on Oliphant.
buses
And
are
all of
on
it.
Turner Road and parent traffic is on Aquidneck Avenue. So,
The drop off. They're not
Drop-off, yeah,
housed on
Drop-off,
Turner. Yeah.
Right.
housing.
so that's how it all evolved over the past 7, 8 years, however long it's been back and forth.
So if we're in such a budget crunch and we can find $86,000 to fund the teacher position, why don't we look at it?
Are we ready for the? for the-
I will
Maybe
I will
town
explore
council
that.
Citizens. I mean, you have to understand what happened.
Well, then ask the council to give us $86,000 to fund the parking.
Revisit it.
To revisit it. It's a good idea. But no, I mean, Greg, please understand, you bring up a very valid point. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just giving you a little history,
It's,
but it is a great idea.
I mean, we're gonna eat $86,000 because a couple residents are upset about some noise.
So I will explore.
That doesn't make any sense.
Can I, and you can shut me off, but in talking about the Z plan for the new building and the T plan and the reuse of the gym, we're talking about now being able to come off of Turner and get out on Quidnick, being able to drive through.
That's a possibility.
That's a possibility, and
But what Tammy had mentioned is if we could create enough parking spaces in this new
Oh,
While we're
facility,
doing this.
it would
might
make
be-
sense to be
yeah.
able
I
to save
agree
the money
with,
with the
as
bus.
long as we can keep the people on Turner Road happy.
Sure, and I mean, we also have the, the high school area, when even the children move from that, you have that whole area as well, with
Yeah.
it not being.
Even in-
utilized,
in the
depending on
back,
How it's
because
utilized, yeah.
With grades 4 and 5 and central office located in the high
They have
school.
Space for the buses.
No, no,
We're not
I
gonna
was
take
just
up that
telling
much
you another
parking. It's the
problem.
whole back. And actually, the buses used to be housed there.
Well, they were part
At the
of the
high
top
school.
parking lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
just to throw it in the mix.
We've moved those buses around. In my
Quite a bit.
20
No,
years,
I-
we've
I-
moved those buses to a lot of different
Maybe
parking
they could
lots.
be half and half,
Right?
half the noise, half here, half there.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's,
I don't know.
Not gonna make everybody happy, no matter what you
Yeah,
do. So let's do what's
Absolutely.
fiscally responsible.
I'll explore that though and get back to you. So the other piece of old business is the CTE program. I did ask RIDE if they could be here tonight to describe the process of how a pathway is approved by RIDE. They couldn't. Depending on when our next meeting is, they will do a presentation. But what I wanted to share with you in this piece is to show you that a school district can't just say, oh, I want this pathway because that's what we want. There's a CTE Board of Trustees, there's RIDE, there's a whole process that's far bigger than anyone's wishes about what kind of a CTE program. So, this is just a little piece of that information, because you have to look at, are there substantially similar programs in the area? All that piece. So I provided this to you just so you can see there is a process. It's a big process. You have to go through the CTE Board of Trustees, through RIDE. But the individual, Steve Osborne, will come down at our next meeting. Hopefully he's available to come down at our next meeting.
And I think it'd be great to maybe present it with the school building committee
We could do that.
and,
We can
maybe
invite the school
principal
building.
and the high school principal. I'm sure she will be driving some of this as we talk about the space.
Help me out. CTE, abbreviation for what?
Korea Tech Education.
What is it? Oh,
Korea.
Korea Tech.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You knew that.
I knew I did. But as you get older, you lose those brain cells.
But thank you, because we tend to throw the alphabet around. So that's all on new business.
okay. Next, we are on to action items. Can I have a motion for homeschooling?
I make a motion, the school committee approve homeschooling request 23-24-1, 23-24-2, 23-24-3, 23-24-4, and 23-24-5.
Second,
Yeah.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the preschool, pre-K special educator job description, second reading?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the preschool pre-K special educator job description, first reading.
second,
Wait a minute. We have second reading at the
Second
top and first reading. There's a discrepancy.
It's the second
It's
reading.
the
Second, second reading, okay,
The second. Mhm.
okay. Any discussion? Oh, I need a second on that.
I did.
I'm sorry, okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Can I have a motion on the elementary intensive special education teacher job description, second reading?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the elementary intensive special education teacher job description, second reading.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So you say, why all these job descriptions? That's part of the region had all these job descriptions, so we have to adopt them now.
Can I have a motion on the substance use and student wellness policy 77010 edits, second reading?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the proposed edits to the substance use and student wellness policy 7010, second reading.
second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion on the coordinator of child outreach, early childhood job description, first reading?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the coordinator of child outreach, early childhood job description, first reading.
second,
Any discussion?
Yes, I'm working with our union leadership on this because this is it's not a 12-month, it really is a 10-month job. So this is the first reading, but I want to sit and work with our union leadership on this because there's flexible hours involved. The individual has to work through a little bit in the summer, after school and so forth. But I wanted to get this as at least as a first reading.
Okay. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion on the fiscal year 24 school calendar?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the revised fiscal year 24 school calendar.
Second.
Any discussion?
So yes, this is like the fourth
fourth
time I
time.
think you've approved this. I think every school committee in the state has done this 3 or 4 times. So we needed to add the presidential primary, because we were told we cannot have school on that day, which is April 2nd, which pushed the end of school then to the 20th. And then we need to observe June 10th.
Mhm.
So that's where we're at.
Okay. And we already had the election day in there, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the Paul Mankowski's response?
Make a motion, the school committee approve the response to Mr. Paul Mankowski's letter dated April 25th, 2023 with attachment.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I think we still need to include the reason why that was dated April 25th and why we're just getting a response to them now. That's just not,
I thought I
but
added that in there.
I don't see it in here. It's, I sincerely hope this response addresses your
This is the
inquiry.
latest one.
I did add I took all of your notes and your comments and I added it in here, so I apologize if this is not the one that I had sent back for revisions. Oh,
Okay, I'll look.
I don't have my
your something
laptop,
here.
so I can't look it up. Well, should I read what I have? Or wait,
You want to read this into the minutes or?
Why don't you just read what you have? And you have the one that
I know,
with the
but I made
changes.
it, but I made it, I don't have,
You're on your
it's
phone
on
now.
my computer.
Was
See if
it
it's
in
on.
the status? report?
No, let me see if it's on.
I have that idea.
What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Oh,
Printed it out for you.
Okay, well, let's find it right there.
What attached here different than what we may have?
You have what you intended to present to the committee tonight, you could read it to them and they can approve that. Or they could ask.
Guy, sorry.
For that. And someone could take notes on this and make those changes, then you could send them out.
I'm seeing if this is the same that you sent us. Yeah, it is.
Do that.
Okay,
Yeah.
we have it right here.
The new one?
No, well,
No.
this is the one.
This is exactly.
Exactly what, by the way. And this, there was this one right here.
Okay, well,
So what do you suggest?
If you have the changes that were made, you could read that one to the committee. If the committee's satisfied with it, then the committee could send it out.
Okay, I have to change it.
If that's acceptable to the committee.
This is the answer to the questions.
Yep.
Incorporate that.
Is that it?
You could, the answer to the questions are the answers, right?
Right.
You just added in at,
Yeah, so, okay, I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna incorporate So Kiki, I'll have to give you the final draft.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I'm going to read this into the minutes. Dear Mr. Minkowski, I am responding to your inquiry dated April 25th, 2023 that you sent to the school committee and town council regarding the Middletown School Department deficit for the fiscal year 22-23. Please note the school department's response is in blue after each of your inquiries. Thank you for your questions. Unfortunately, your questions have many embedded incorrect assumptions. Last March, the town council voted no. This is from Mr. Mankowski. Last March, the town council voted no confidence in the school superintendent, and they ordered a performance audit to identify the reasons for $1.5 million over expenditure. The performance audit never happened, but the council paid the over expenditure and took over the school's finance operations. I am. While the town council can, this is my answer. While the town council can speak for themselves relative to their votes and the reasons behind the same, the district's position has long been that the municipality has not adequately funded the educational and contractual needs of the district. This position has been well advertised fact and has caused multiple years of deficit spending. Each year, a budget presented publicly documenting the educational contractual needs of the district. The town council makes the decision to allocate the resources to pay for the same. Prior to last year's appropriations to the school department, the town's average appropriations was 1.85 from fiscal year 2012 to 2022. During this period of time, the school district was losing state aid at a pace yearly from a low of $119,567 to a high of $369,372. At the same time, collective bargaining agreements were negotiated and approved by the town council, ranging in value from a low of $146,896 to a high of $640,883. In fact, the fiscal year 18, when the town appropriation was level funded, the collective bargaining agreements cost the district $538,517. In the past, the district has been required to use its accumulated surplus to fund that annual gap between those responsibilities and the allocated funds. The fact that the school department used fund balance to close the gap was made public every year in the transmittal letters to the town council, in the annual audit, and in the financial reports given to the town monthly. Last fiscal year, there was not sufficient monies available from any source to pay for the educational and contractual needs of the district. The town council met their statutory responsibility to fund the deficit. The town has not taken over the school's finance operations. This fiscal year 2023, the town's finance director reviews all the expenses against all budgeted line items before spending occurs. The district and the town are actively working together to develop a plan to streamline the efficiencies of the municipal and district financial operations. We are hopeful that such a move will provide accurate and timely reporting and accounting, as well as create some efficiencies. However, the school committee and the superintendent will continue in their statutory duties to operate the district from both an educational and financial perspective. In addition to this response, I had added that based on the response from the town council and town administrator regarding the audit, this is regarding his question of the audit. I will add to this, I had added it. Based on the response from the town council and town administrator during the past few months at public meetings, it was stated that they have been unable to find a firm who would do the audit after sending out 2 to 3 RFPs. Since we are now consolidating, they have not pursued it further. So as of recent, even since I've adjusted this, they have hired a finance person who will be working with the school department and the town. I will make sure this is corrected. The next question was, please answer a few questions on the school department's $1.5 million over expenditure in 2021. Who is responsible for the over expenditure and who is accountable? My answer. Your question assumes that some individual bears responsibility for spending more money than the municipality allocated for education, rather than what were the causes. The monies spent were based on the contractual responsibilities of the district and the educational needs of the students. Such expenditures are mandated by state and federal law. The specifics for over expenditures were, number 1, the cost of transportation of children required by state law. Number 2, cost of providing services to our special needs population required both federal and state law. And number 3, municipality's failure to adequately fund the educational needs and contractual responsibilities of the district. His second question was, the $1.5 million deficit intentional, a mistake, or a result of fraud, waste, abuse by the school department? My response, as stated above, the reasons for the deficit are: 1, the cost of transportation for children required by state law; 2, cost of providing services for special needs population; and 3, the municipality's failure to adequately fund the educational needs and contractual responsibilities of the district. It was not the result of mistake, fraud, waste, or abuse by the school department. Bear with me, I apologize. Third, number 3, his question: how much did the school department pay and to whom to identify, explain, and defend the $1.5 million deficit, $1.5 million problem from the time it was identified by the town administrator in 2021? My answer: we do not have the capacity to break out specific figures for this question. Many individuals were involved in the sorting through this situation, including the superintendent, the interim business manager, the town administrator, the town finance director, the town solicitor, and the school attorney. As stated above, the district's position has long been that the municipality has not adequately funded the educational and contractual needs of the district. This has been a well-advertised fact and has caused multiple years of deficit spending. In the past, the district has been required to use accumulated surplus to fund that annual gap. Last fiscal year, there were not sufficient funds available from any source to pay for the educational and contractual needs of the district. And so in addition to that, causes are the reason we were forced to use the fund balance to support the contractual agreements and the contracts that the town council ratified in 2018 in order to not create a structural deficit during the following years. Unfortunately, the deficit occurred when the fund balance was depleted in 2022. We continuously informed the council that was the path we were on and needed more tax appropriations to support the budget. The town did not raise taxes, which in turn limited the allocations to the school department. State funding was continuously cut due to the town's ability to tax and pay. The superintendent included this information in all the transmittals each year, so the council was well aware of the challenges we were facing regarding the decreases in revenue from the state as well as the municipality, and knew we were using fund balance to close the gap causing structural deficits. We requested 3 to 4% each year. However, as you can see, we were not appropriately funded. In my opinion, I believe that if we were funded a consistent 2 to 2.5% each of those years, we would not be in this situation. Also, the town auditors who review the budget every year cited the use of fund balance each year. So the town was well aware of our financial position and that the structural deficit was going to occur. So I was asked after this letter was reviewed by other council members, other school committee members, in regards to why there was a delay in responding to Mr. Mankowski. And he also asked that the other day at a town council meeting. So my response to that was I was working on the response with the superintendent and the finance department. However, with all the requests from the council for more information on a daily basis regarding the budget, closing the end of the school year, as well as trying to hire a finance director, a special ed director, the bond discussions, and several extra meetings, I have finally been able to gather the accurate information to respond as of now. That is what needs to be added to this letter. So I did agree with you, Mr. Hewitt, that that was important for me to add
Okay.
that in.
I have one other question on paragraph. Fourth paragraph down from the beginning where you cite prior to last year's appropriations to the school department, the town's average appropriation was 1.85% from fiscal year 12 through fiscal year 22. I believe that's incorrect because Sean Brown also provided a different figure for that from all the other revenues that the town provided. So I think we need to be accurate in that figure.
Okay, then we will correct that part of this as well. Thank you for catching that. Okay, so at this point, that is the letter that I will be submitting close to this anyway, with some revisions as necessary. But I wanted to ensure that we responded to Mr. Minkowski because it has been delayed. There's no doubt about that. And my apologies for that. So based on that, I have a motion and a second to approve the letter with,
As
as
amended.
amended.
As amended.
With, and it, okay, as amended. So we have to,
That's it. Just vote.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next, can I have a motion on fall coaches?
Make a motion, the school committee approve hiring fiscal year 24 fall coaches.
Second.
Any discussion?
So I asked to put this on because we don't have a budget and fall sports start yesterday probably, but they at least start next week. And we would be spending dollars that we don't know where our when we don't know our budget. So I did send conditional letters stating that the school committee could vote to approve their hire. All we're committed to, if the budget, if we're short, all we're committed to then is the fall sports. We would not have, we could look at winter or spring sports.
All right, bless you, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, so any further discussion?
Yeah, I actually talked to the superintendent about this because I was concerned that fall sports, that our kids were being put behind because some of the other school districts were already coaching and participating in sports. And I wanted to make sure that if there was any way that we could get our coaches hired, we could do it. So that's what the superintendent and I talked about. And so this was a way to do it.
They've already been participating. That's interesting because there's Rhode Island Interscholastic League, RIL, has very strict guidelines of when people can start. So everybody has to start at the same time.
That starting date is already, my understanding is already started.
It's 2 weeks. Unless they start school the last week of August, which some districts are starting early. What's based on the calendar. That's interesting.
So the football starts effective August 14th. That's the earliest. Football starts earlier than other sports. So
And soccer's right
Girls
after that.
soccer.
Girls and boys. soccer.
soccer actually starts, the coach hires, is hired starting August 21.
So my point was, if we didn't do this, we wouldn't have a coach. in
Yeah, we
place.
would have had to have waited
Correct.
for all the. fall
But
sports.
real sets the rules because otherwise it'd be unfair of if somebody starts July practicing and another district's not
Which
starting.
happens.
Right, so that's why there's set standards of when practices can start for each sport in the summertime, so. But thank you for bringing that up. So we're good for that?
You need a vote.
Yep, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I have a motion on the preschool tuition rates?
Make a motion, the school committee approve fiscal year 24 preschool tuition rates.
Second.
Any discussion?
So we haven't, this is increased by 3%. This is our preschool special education program. So again, through the transition team and looking at data, this was suggested by our Director of Student Service. And it's comparable to other communities.
And I just think you need to be clear, the tuition is for the,
Typically developing peers.
not for the special ed students.
Right.
They don't pay tuition, but this is because it's a peer model. It's a, why can't I think of? Integrated classroom, thank you. All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the school day time changes?
Make a motion, the school committee approve fiscal year 24 school start and end times.
Second.
Any discussion? All,
Was there a second?
yeah, Greg.
So I do have a PowerPoint presentation I can go through quickly.
Mhm.
Right now, you see the current school time, times for students and teachers. our teachers start at 7:15. Our students come in at 7:30. Our students end at 1:40. Our teachers end at 1:55. This is a total of 6 hours and 40 minutes. Gaudet was the only school complying with the total number of hours in our elementaries. Now, we've had different times because of COVID and so forth. So we wanted to put everybody on the same time and the contractual time that they should be on. So the second slide shows what the start times would be. We moved the start times rather than the end times, because the end times, if we moved at the high school, it would have interfered with any interscholastic activities. So our teachers at the high school will arrive at 7:05. Our students will come in at 7:20. Our students' end of the day is 1:40, and our teachers end at 1:55. That's a total of 6 hours and 50 minutes. Gaudet, we did not have to make any adjustments.
Student time is 6 hours and 20 minutes though.
Gaudet, we didn't, and Gaudet Learning, we did not have to make any adjustments, and we did for the elementary. So this adds 10 minutes to the morning start for the high school. It adds 20 minutes to the morning start for both K-3 elementary schools, and also took some minutes away at the end of the day. So we adjusted our student and start times. So everybody is, total student time is 6 hours and 20 minutes, and our total teacher time is 6 hours and 50 minutes. So at the high school, Middletown High School, drop off at 7:05 with staff present. So this allows buses to get in to the middle school. And it also provides supervision at the high school for students coming in for breakfast. All schools can maximize student school day and ensure buses depart at actual student end times. The elementary runs at end of day still allows the buses to make sports runs and extended years pickup. And it's consistent across the district for students' time, 6 hours and 20 minutes, and consistent for our teachers, 6 hours and 50 minutes. So we gain a little bit of instructional time here, which is a good thing.
Was there any talk about running late for high school? I'm sure they ran late at 7:30, now 7:20.
Well, we will see.
You know,
We
the
will see.
tardies.
But we did have a discussion again with our union leadership,
Mhm.
given the reasons why, and, you know, they understood why we were doing this.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the Chartwell contract?
Make a motion, the school committee approve FY24 Chartwell contract.
Second.
Any discussion?
So a little discussion, the contract is written by all of the East Bay communities for the East Bay. We do have individual prices and, you know, revenues and expenditures and where we break even or don't break even. So this was really, all of the communities have approved the contract except for Middletown, and hopefully you'll do that today. It does imply that your second motion to increase the prices, because we would be losing money if we didn't increase the prices. We're in, I can talk about that after the second one, unless you want me to roll it in now.
No, let's just do it in order.
Okay.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Can I have a
Yes.
motion on the meal price increase?
Well, I make a motion, the school committee approve fiscal year 24 meal price increases.
Second.
Any discussion?
So yes, discussion. I showed you the data from the East Bay schools, what everybody is charging. Our proposal is to increase the elementary breakfast by 10 cents. So it would be $1.10. To increase our secondary lunch by 10 cents, $1.35. To increase our elementary lunches.
Breakfast.
No, I'm moving over to the lunch now, elementary lunch.
Okay, yeah, okay. You said secondary lunch.
Yeah,
before.
it's this one, elementary lunch to $2.85. That's a 15% increase. And to the secondary lunch, a 15 cents increase to $3.10. The reduced is the reduced, the free is the free. We were hoping that the General Assembly would do universal, free and universal lunch. Connecticut has, Massachusetts has, maybe it will be in Rhode Island's future for next time. But these increases will make us break even with the lunches rather than lose dollars. Milk stays the same.
What is the price of milk? Oh. I don't have that anymore. I don't know, I'm sorry.
25, 35, 45, 35?
I was thinking 40.
I can't remember. 40?
Milk stays the same though. And we need, we'd like this approved, so we can get our hot lunch forms out.
Yeah, but milk goes with the hot lunches, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I know, but I'm just saying, but if,
Oh, then
so if
they
a
have to
child's
purchase
getting
it.
hot lunch, like the free and the reduced hot lunch, milk is on the tray.
Yeah.
Right, if they just want.
Right.
Alone.
Right, okay. Okay, so it hasn't changed. That's good news. Okay. All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Can I have a motion on the special special education settlement?
Make a motion that the school committee approve a settlement related to special education.
Second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
So I need a motion to table the Council 94 contract.
Make a motion, the school committee table the Council 94 contract 2023 through 2026.
Second,
Any discussion? So I would like to say, the reason why we are tabling this is because we are waiting for the budget to be approved before we can make any kind of commitments. So that is why we were going to postpone this to the August 30th meeting.
29.
And also for further clarification. And we have to talk about the next meeting, so, but we're gonna postpone it to the next August, at the end of this month, an August meeting. So, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I have a motion on the resignations?
I make a motion, the school committee approve the following resignations. Andrew Pont, lead night custodian, 7/10/2023. Michelle Murphy, special education teacher, Middletown High School, 8/31/2023. Jordan Silveria, art teacher, Middletown High School, 8/31/23. Jamie Pulio, science teacher, Middletown High School, 8/31/23. Thomas Caparella, math teacher, Middletown High School, 8/31/23. Cynthia Thornsbury, 6-hour teacher assistant, Aquidneck, 8/31/23.
second,
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
aye.
Okay, can I have let's do the superintendent reports.
Sure. Superintendent reports, we have someone in the audience that I'd like to introduce you to. We were very lucky to find a 4 or 5 principal. The committee, Miss Silvera led up the committee. It was a large committee. We had parents, we had teachers, we had the entire group. And we put this candidate through the usual exercises, and this candidate came out on top. I'd like to introduce Caitlin Gibbons. Caitlin is here tonight. Come on up, Caitlin. I'm just going to talk a little bit about you.
Yeah.
What has excited us about Caitlin is her strength. She is a teacher, currently a teacher in North Kingston Public Schools. What has excited us about her strength is her curriculum background. She is a reading specialist. She has worked with English multi-language learners. She taught in the middle schools, so she knows kind of that the tweens there. She also has been a coordinator, and when I interviewed her, it was her passion about the multi-tiered student support system. She was a coordinator there. So I introduced Mr. Niemeyer, and I did our final interview with Katie, and she sold us. So welcome to the team.
Thank you.
Katie?
Thank you so much.
Yep, and you'd like to
Yeah,
say
and
anything?
I'm really excited to be here. I was born and raised in Rhode Island. I'm from North Kingstown. And then after I finished high school, I made a really strange move and I went to college in Arkansas.
She's a Razorback.
Yeah, my parents let me do that as long as I didn't end up working there or marry someone from there. And I did both of those things. And I ended up in a wonderful school district, a high performing middle school, and I fell in love with the leadership that I was under. And I knew that if I was ever going to move into leadership, I'm a Rhode Islander at heart, and I wanted to do that within my own community and my own state. On Tuesday, I sat right in this exact position and interviewed with Becky's team. And I really fell in love with that committee. There's something very special here about Middletown, and I'm really excited to be part of the work.
Well, congratulations, welcome.
And she wanted to start Monday, VJ Day. I was gonna
Yeah.
let her do that, but she will be starting Tuesday, I think. right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
very
we're
excited
really
to do so.
excited.
Yeah.
I know our fourth and fifth grade teachers will be thrilled that they have a leader. I know that they love Becky and she's moving over to Forest Avenue School. But we assured the staff that we're going to find someone, and we did. We were lucky. So thank you and welcome to the team.
Thank you
Katie.
so much.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah,
you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
You're gonna love it here.
Yes.
All right, we have lots of personnel to read, so I'm going to ask our school committee chair to help us with this. So
You want me to start?
you can start.
Okay. Hire effective July 3rd, 2023. Gustavo Londono, part-time seasonal computer technician intern, and I apologize, I'm sabotaging you.
He's right back there.
I'm sorry. Sorry. Georgia Fortunato, interim director of student services consultant. Heather Richardson, administrative assistant to director of student services. Hire effective July 10th, 2023. Rebecca Palumbo, pre-K through 8 ESY special education teacher. Chelsea Sylvia, pre-K ESY special education teacher assistant. Krista Robinson, ESY Beyond the Bell intervention teacher. Jennifer Roulette, ESY Beyond the Bell intervention teacher assistant. And Rebecca Machado and Rachel Stallnaker, all ESY Beyond the Bell intervention teacher assistants. Dylan Nichols, Linda Leonard, John Kunick, Autumn Hoffman, Andrew Lees, Rachel Wagner, and Kevin Lendrum, all ESY Beyond the Bell credit recovery teachers at Middletown High School. Hire effective July 24th, 2023. Austin Alves, lead custodian, nighttime. Lisa Burkett, director of student services. Hire effective July 31st, 2023. Scott Rollins, .4 athletic director. Transfer effective July 31st, 2023. Rebecca Silvera, principal from Gaudet Learning Academy to Forest Avenue. Hire effective August 7th, 2023. Kristen Scala, kindergarten jumpstart coordinator. Carolyn Bowley, Catherine Breen, Ruth Lynn Butler, Tara Mello, Deborah Prentice, and Samantha Judson, all kindergarten jumpstart teachers. Donna Byron, Cheryl Rosa, kindergarten jumpstart nurse teachers. Janine Maher Perry, Robin Warburton, Elizabeth Coogan, and Andrea Cullifer, all kindergarten jumpstart teacher assistants.
Can't
Having a
hold
tough
to
time
a
with
few.
names,
I know.
sorry.
Hire effective August 14th, Matt Kessler, varsity football coach, Connor Champlin, assistant varsity football coach, Adam Kessler, assistant JV football coach, and Maxwell Yates, head JV football coach. Hire effective August 15th, 2023, Carly Ford as the district school office support for Middletown High School. And we introduced Katie Gibbons as our principal for Good Day Learning Academy. Hire effective August 21st, Gus Steppen for girls varsity coach, Bran Wagner, 6, 7, and 8 girls soccer coach, JP Massaro, boys varsity coach, Jake Cathers, girls tennis coach, Rex Bridges, head girls soccer coach, Melissa Kleindeck for head cheerleading coach, Regan Riley, JV girls volleyball coach, Caitlin Homer, girls JV soccer coach, Tom Conrad, boys JV soccer coach, and James Teeters as boys soccer coach, 6, 7, and 8. Hire effective August 31st, Daniel Shamil as our pre-engineering technology teacher at Middletown High School, Sarah Alexander, Pathways Success teacher at Forest Avenue, Kaylee McCarthy, special education teacher at Gaudet, Scott Rollins, he will be 0.6 as a teacher in Middletown High School. We were lucky too to get an AD who's really jumped in. Casey Amaral, 6-hour TA, Kerry Carlin, 6-hour TA, Kerry Halligan, 6-hour TA, Jennifer McCoy, 6-hour special ed TA. These are all special ed TAs. And Carla Meadows Vance, 6-hour special ed TA. Kristen Ramsey is moving from a 4.5 art teacher to a full-time art teacher at Forest Avenue in Aquidneck. Brittany Williams was in a 1-year position for grade 6. She will have that position permanently. And we are hiring our Dr. Durdwan as our dentist and Brooke Robach as our school. Durdwan is our dentist. Roebuck is our school physician. Want to take the rest?
Sure. Transfer effective August 31st, 2023. Kristen Wilbright, art teacher at Aquidneck and Forest Avenue to Middletown High School. Megan Sperato, career exploration to English teacher at Middletown High School. Dylan Nichols, student success to math teacher at Middletown High School. Lateral moves effective 8/31/2023. Robin Warburton, 6-hour grant funded TA to 4-hour TA at Forest Avenue. Satira Korea, 6-hour grant funded TA to a 4-hour TA at Aquidneck. Amber Crockett, 6-hour grant funded TA to a 4-hour TA at Aquidneck. And then the resignations were already read.
Not the last two.
Not the last two. Correct. Okay. And then resignations. Jill Spawn, APE teacher, a resignation effective 8/31/23. And Anne Marie McAndrews, her resignation is effective 8/18/2023, and she was the early childhood coordinator.
So I'd just like to add another individual here. As you know, my contract as superintendent of schools expires June 30th, 2024. I want to let the school committee know that I will not seek an extension of this contract. My intent is to retire on June 30th, 2024. We have about 10.5 months to work together to accomplish 5 main goals. I'm committed to working with you to get this important work done. The first is we need to settle a fair and equitable contracts with our teachers, our teacher assistants, and our custodians. The second is we need to demonstrate to our community that supporting the bond, although it's a big ask, is an investment in our future. We will be providing our Middletown children, families, and community with 21st century teaching and learning environment and community spaces for our residents, like flexible spaces and an auditorium. The third big lift for us is we need to establish our own special education department that we're well underway, that advocates for what children need. This is an opportunity for the district to develop new teaching and learning models for our special education students and teachers. It engages a more active parent group and make the programs Middletown's programs. The fourth big lift that we need to do together is to work with our town to provide a collaborative fiscal service department that will be transparent, that will advocate for adequate and predictable funding. The predictable is the key here. Funding to meet the needs of the school department and the students we serve. And our last big lift together has to be designing a succession plan that is seamless, that aligns with our vision, our mission, and our shared commitments that we have adopted as a community over the years, which is part of our school department's core values. So let's make this happen together. We are Middletown. Moving on to the financial. You have your financial reports with you in your packet. It's the revenues and expenditures at this time. We have a positive variance based upon this report. It is unaudited, so we need to wait till that is audited, and we need to finish closing out the year, and we're close to that T, aren't we?
We're
Yes.
working hard.
Say yes.
We are working hard.
Good, good. And curriculum, in your status report, our assistant superintendent did an outstanding job as usual, with the answers that she provided to our town council. But in terms of math curriculum update, we will, our orders for professional development will be done in August, and we will continue our professional development on May 7th. Our Summer Beyond the Bell program is completed. High school is still going, although I think that might have stopped. We do have kindergarten jumpstart, and then all the curriculum updates that she provided. Student service, gonna ask our director.
Can I just say, excuse me 1 second, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to say also in this information that Mrs. Fonseca responded to the town council questions on on curriculum. So that was nice that was sent over to the town as they had requested in the last meeting. So just wanted
It's
to,
all funded by grants.
so I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. So
Thank you.
you've heard a lot from me tonight, so I'll just be brief. As you know, we've begun building a new Department of Student Services. Georgia Fortunato began on July 5th. I came on July 24th. I'm not going to go into detail about the transition plan because our transition team, we've already done that, but I just want to let you know of a couple of things that we have been doing over the last couple of weeks. We've partnered with Head Start. We'll have 2 preschools in the district. One will be at Forest Avenue and one will be at Aquidneck. We've met with Head Start, with their student services coordinator as well to discuss programming and how services will work. We have met with all the principals to discuss caseloads, staffing needs, programming, student numbers in order to increase efficiency. That's kind of the goal here. We have interviewed for current open positions, the early childhood coordinator, pre-K, intensive special needs classroom. A special educator was hired at Gaudet Middle School. We've held summer evaluation team meetings with parents and staff. We had a successful ESY extended school year program that ended on August 3rd. And we have started to dig into examining our out of district placements and to see about how, the financing on those and potentially bringing students back and what all that entails. We've just started that. But as we said, our department will be where every student gets what they need. You'll see us on the map. So we're going to be the best. That's our goal.
Thank you.
Oh,
I just have a couple things, cause mostly it's a busy time of year, so I don't have anything really new. So the crew's been working hard, getting Gaudet. Actually, the renovation crew has been painting and tiling. Gaudet is just about finished up. They had a little delay because they had a back order on some of the tiles. But the work should be all finished up this week. In addition to that, with summer school ending, I have my crew working really hard to try to get the schools all cleaned up and ready to go next month. It's been a tough summer for my crew anyways, just with budget issues with supplies and some personnel out. But they're catching up and they'll be all set for school starting next month. And then I just want to thank my crew publicly for taking care of the student services department upstairs. When they moved in, it was a mess and it was dirty and it was not painted, and turn that all around. It looks really nice up there, and hopefully that'll help them get off to a good start and help our students out.
Thank you. Thanks, Poe.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Thank you.
And our IT.
Well, good evening, Madam Chair, members of the school committee. Our IT team has been really busy this summer preparing for the upcoming school year with many exciting projects in the works, like facilities. For IT, this is our busiest time of year, and you'll see that that's evident in my status report. Our network administrator, district technician, and IT summer intern have been hard at work configuring new Chromebooks for our students, document cameras for our teachers, and battery backup surge protectors to protect our network closets, all thanks to CIP funding from the previous fiscal year. Our coordinator of student information systems is hard at work this week, rolling over our student information system PowerSchool to a new academic year, the 2023-2024 year. We are coordinating with principals and other administrators to ensure that all course selections, schedules, and other critical information is in place before we can begin this complicated rollover process. Our district technology integration specialists, in partnership with our coordinator of student information systems and our assistant superintendent, have been working very closely together to make further enhancements to our progress reports and our report cards. Our district technician, in conjunction with our amazing facilities department, are hard at work installing even more interactive whiteboards in classrooms. We are working hard to get this done for the beginning of the school year with very limited resources. And I would like to thank Poe George and his amazing team for all of their help and support throughout this summer. The IT team is making substantial progress on many behind-the-scenes projects that are a lot less known to the public, such as configuring online access for our new math curriculum, implementing various process implementations to improve efficiency, and further improving upon our asset management system, in addition to implementing various security enhancements to our network, all in addition to our routine summer maintenance projects. Our registration team is also extremely busy and hard at work processing new registrations, as well as following up with families on pending registrations to provide you, the committee, with the most accurate enrollment information as possible. We meet weekly as a team to discuss team updates, concerns, and workflow improvements. Just this last week, our student services department and our registration team met together to improve a lot of our processes and procedures. Thank you to our student services team for their time and collaboration during this busy time of year. And that is my status report for this month. If the school committee has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them at this time.
Who says we don't do anything in the summer?
No. People think that schools have summers off. You really don't.
Right.
All right. Can I have a motion to receive the superintendent reports?
To make a motion, the school committee receive the superintendent reports.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any reports from officers and committees? You want to talk about the building committee?
Sure. The building committee, the highlight of the building committee's meeting was the presentation of the 3 schematic designs for the high school. And one was called and this was also presented before the town council. One was called the Z plan, whatever it was, the Z, a T, and then the school, and then the reuse. The reuse was decided that that was not going to be the route to take. So they are now looking at the 2 plans and we're evaluating them. And the next step is that the building committee members will prioritize the criteria and select the criteria that we feel is most important. And we rate those and we can add to that criteria and focus in on those 2 buildings as to what we want. That was really the highlight of it, among other things. Am I missing anything?
We did start work on what happens if the bond does not pass. So
Yes.
starting to come up with plan B, and if we need it, hopefully we don't.
And we did also talk about the a PR campaign that is going to start that will provide facts and information on what's to come.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Mrs. Holden, make
I
the
make a
motion.
motion that to adjourn from the school committee meeting at 6:15.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Have a good night. Sign. Not all of it.